Hello, hello, hello. Facebook Live Land. Reverend Brianna Lynn here, coming to you with Wild Woman Rhapsody number 64. Number 64, it's amazing. And I'm coming online live because the last 2 months have felt like 2 full years. Anyone else? 2020 has been a big, wild year. If you're on here live, let me know you're here. Give me some hearts, give me some love. If you're tuning into the replay, please let me know. Please share if this video moves you. I want to talk a little bit about energy in motion, or emotion, energy in motion, and what to do when it's coming on, and it's coming on strong. Hi, Monica. It's good to see you. So at any point that you're resonating with what it is that's coming through me, please give me some hearts, give me some love. Your hearts are my encouragement to continue. But really, Wild Woman Rhapsody was started just as a conversation. It was started as a way for me to give full permission to myself to open my channel and just allow whatever wants to come. So please know, as you're visiting my page, as you're here, as you're tuning in, I'm here to be in the conversation with you. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to believe everything I say. That's not the objective. But if you do disagree and you want to say something, I just ask that you do so with respect. Come on my page, show some respect. We're allowed to disagree. We're allowed to attack the topic, but not the person. So if you find yourself disagreeing with people in the comment box, that's totally okay too. I'm not here so conflict is the point of creation, right? Conflict is the center fire for our creation. So conflict isn't a problem here. I'm just asking that you show the utmost respect, especially because on Wild Woman Rhapsody and my personal self, I like to dive into the topics that can be a little sticky. And today we're going to talk about energy and motion. We're going to talk about emotion. And this is something that is so powerful and wonderful. Hi, Rosalind. Hi, Marjan. It's good to see you. Hi, Touchstone. It's good to see you guys starting to pop on today. As we start to dive in, I want to begin with a little centering and then us to be able to dive into what to do when emotion or energy in motion is about to or does get the best of you. So let's begin with just a little centering. If you're able, I'm just going to invite you to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths into the belly, all the way where your body meets your legs. As we just call upon the spirit of all things and no things to be with us in this conversation around emotion or energy and motion, our triggers, our stories, who we be as humans. We just call in this conversation. Thank you for being with us. We call in all the directions and the elements, our earth, the north, our body, the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom. Thank you. The east, the wind, our breath, our mind, our ego. Thank you. We're learning how to utilize this as a tool for our heart and our mission. Our center fire, the south, the logs of passionate purpose, and our intimate relations. We just say thank you. We feed you every day. To the west, the waters, our emotional body, our energy and motion, the one body of water that we are. Thank you. To the ancestors of the land, the ancestors of our DNA. Thank you. To all spirit guides, all metaphors of the light, all of those who are here for the highest good of all, we welcome you into this space. With a hand on the heart and hand on the womb, we say thank you to the spirit of all things and no things, to be with us, to guide us, to dive deep with us in this conversation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm breathing here. So last week was big, guys. These last 2 months have been like 2 years. Is anyone else feeling it? Like 2020 is lit. 2020 is here to help us have 2020 vision. So these last 2 months have felt like 2 years. So I wanted to get on here and have the conversation with all of you about, hi Adrian, it's good to see you. Hola Adrián, mi hermano boliviano está aquí. Mucho gusto. Me alegro que estés aquí. So for those who are in my field, who know what we're doing, wonderful. And for those who don't, I just want to give you a little download. I'm Reverend Brianna Lynn. I'm a minister through the Earth Temple. TheEarthTemple.com is the church that my partner and our tribe who create a center of prayer that is non-denominational, does not have a dogma at the center, and School of Shamanic Arts. And all of that is available on theearthtemple.com. But one theme that has come up for all of us this past couple months is, how do we deal with our emotions? How do we honor our emotional experience, what we're feeling, what we're experiencing, without it taking over our system, without it completely taking over and almost like the Incredible Hulk, right? Like the first time I saw the Incredible Hulk, I knew exactly what that metaphor was. Does anyone else, right? Of like, oh my goodness, yeah. Sometimes my emotions come online and it's like, there's no stopping them. Like, and within our spiritual work, we're learning how to honor our emotions, because most of us, myself included, came from a religious afternoon. Hi, Gwyneth, it's good to see you. Hi, Maddie, brother, Maddie Iris from Austin. Send my love to Andrea and all the Austin brothers and sisters out there. Oh, it's so good to feel you. But, we're learning how to honor our emotions, because I don't know about you, but I came from a family and a religious background that said emotions are bad, or emotions are distracting, is really what the message was. In order to play sports, you can't let your emotions get in the way. In order to be good at school, you can't let your emotions get in the way. In order to be good in relationship, you can't let your emotions get in the way. So I grew up in a culture where being an emotive young woman was seen as dramatic. Was anyone else called dramatic? I was called a drama queen. I was called dramatic. I was called sensitive. I was called overly emotional. And since that time, I have reframed it as I'm an extraordinarily sensitive human being. I'm an empath. I can sense a lot of different things, as all humans are. All humans are empaths. Surprise, surprise. How is it that we're all empaths? This goes back to the theme of emotion, or energy in motion. Well, biochemically, you are 80 to 90% water. And what keeps you alive, or what magnetic frequency? I was just told it was low network connection. But the electromagnetic frequency in your water body is what life is, essentially. Yay, I'm so glad that Andrea heard me. Love you, babe. And what does it mean to feel? What is an emotion? It's literally energy in motion. So when the electromagnetic frequency in our body of water, literally we are a body of water, when our electromagnetic frequency starts moving quickly, that's what we call emotion, energy in motion, literally physical sensations that are connected to a storyline is an emotion. So sensations that I can sense in my ocean. This is my ocean. You have an ocean too. The electricity that's moving through it, and the story that I attach to that electricity as the impetus, or as the reason why it's happening. So my partner just spoke to me this way. Received beautiful feedback, or I'm having an emotional experience because I'm looking at the trees and they move my energy quite a bit, right? So just to know that every human being is an empath. That means they are picking up on electricity from other things outside of themselves, from other beings mostly. All human beings are made of water and electricity, and they can feel everything. The actual connection and the meaning and what's being felt in the body is what we are not taught how to do. It's the silliest thing that we're not taught this in kindergarten, emotional language around what we're actually feeling. To describe the physical sensations, the energy in motion, and where we are connecting between what is creating that, or what is giving me the impetus in my body. If we don't have training on how to understand that things that come my way and my emotional experience on the inside, there is a connection, but it's not causation, but not causality. And that is really, really important. Why is that important? Because actual network connection, I'm hoping it's recording, and I hope you guys can see me as I drop the phone here. But really, what's important about that? Well, in order for us to not blame the world around us, or not blame our parents, or not blame experience around us for why we're feeling or not feeling, it's important for us to know that everything we put ourselves, every experience we put ourselves in, every person we put ourselves around, every bar we walk into, every restaurant we walk into, every TV that's turned on, every time we expose ourselves to electromagnetic frequency, it is going to give us a response in our body, no matter how much work you've done. Because we are electricity and water. So you standing by an ocean versus you standing by 1656 different electrical impulse into your body. Okay? So the importance of that is to know that it's not your fault you're feeling everything. That's the human condition. B, it is our responsibility to train ourselves how to create meaning in our mind around what the sensation is in the physical body, the electricity in motion in our physical body. Just because there's electricity in motion, just because there's emotion in our body, doesn't mean it's right and doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just information. I'm going to say that again. Just because we have an emotion, just because we have energy in our body, doesn't mean it's right and it doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just information, right? A red-tailed hawk is soaring above me. What meaning do I want to make out of that? Oh, I can make out of that red-tailed hawk feels safe enough to, right? The meaning that's created between the external impetus, or between the experience and what's actually happening, is a human creation, right? So I feel a movement in my lower belly. And every time I feel a movement in my lower belly, it happens to be connected, a specific type of movement, I'll get more specific, a tightness, and a movement of feeling, it feels almost like gears are turning, and there's a tightness in my outer hips. That is the experience that I have when I feel like someone who I really love is not reciprocating or wants to leave the situation, or I'm sharing and they don't really want to be there, right? That's the meaning that I've made out of that physical sensation. So when my partner and I are talking and that sensation starts to come up when he turns his head, instead of me running into, oh, he's now leaving me, let me run into the meaning, I run back into the physical sensation, right? Learning how to feel, express, or contain is the opposite of suppression and control, right? So I feel it and I express it and I give myself they're almost like riverbanks for my emotion to flow through. Now, in the past, and sometimes, especially this past week, if I'm tired, I can start to think around my physical sensations is actually true. That's the dangerous part. Is the meaning that I make around my physical sensations actually true? No, they're stories based on my past. Every time I've had a similar experience like this, my body has responded this way, or the way my body has responded, I've created the same meaning out of. So can I feel this? Hey babe, I'm feeling this tightness in my belly. Can I express it? And the story that I've made up about it is, and can I contain it? And I'm choosing not project it onto you, but share it with you fully. Right? Becoming those riverbanks for the rivers of our emotion. It's good to feel it. It's good to express it, but it's also good to contain it and know that my partner is not the cause of my discomfort. The meaning of my story is the cause of my discomfort. Emotion, energy in my body that's causing a physical sensation. I allow myself to express it and then I contain it like the riverbanks. Now, if I decide to flood the prairie, right? If I decide to flood the whole valley with my emotions, which I can, my emotions are huge, just like yours. Rage, anger, joy, whatever it is, we can flood the valley. Or we can learn to contain it and have a river. What is more useful? Over time, for the highest good of all, a river is more useful than a flood. Right? Emotions are not wrong. Your energy in motion is a human thing, but learning how to be the riverbanks for your own river is vital. If we rely on a partner or a parent or a coach or a spiritual leader, a dogma to be the riverbanks to our own river, to give us the parameters of how and when to express, to give us the parameters of how not to project, when we create our own parameters, that's true sovereignty of, I know how to express myself fully. I know how to show up in my anger. I know how to show up in my joy, and I know how to contain that shit so it doesn't project onto other people. That is the crux, to feel it all, express it all, and contain it with responsibility. The ability to respond to your own emotional experience is the greatest superpower that you have outside of attention, intention, and manifesting. The ability to feel, express, and contain all of your emotions as your own responsible experience is the most powerful experience that we can have, because that means we've become the partner to ourselves that we've been looking for. When I can feel, express, and contain, give myself unconditional attention for all the internal emotional experience that I have as an empathetic, witchy woman, and whatever you identify as, right? We all have this superpower to feel it all. When we can feel it all, express it truly, and contain it, that is the opposite of suppression and control, and that is how we move out of the war with self. That's how we end the war with self, is there's no feeling or emotion I'm not allowed to feel. I'm allowed to feel everything. I'm allowed to express everything. And I'm also an adult female in her shit who knows how to contain her love, who knows how to contain like the riverbanks of a river, not like a storage container for leftover food, right? When I say container, I want to be super clear. These are the riverbanks that allow that continual flow from the mountaintop into the ocean to go back into the water cycle, right? Because that's all emotions are. They're energy in motion. They just continue to flow in the cycle. They'll go down the river, back into the ocean, evaporated, back into the sky, and then rain down again. And each one of those pieces of the cycle, water is the best metaphor for energy in motion or emotions. So when it's flowing in the river, it's flowing through our bodies. When it's back in the ocean, it's back with the oneness. When it goes back into the sky, back in the oneness as it externally, whether it's external from your parents or external from a job or external from your partner, Whatever you experience externally is that metaphor of the rain, and then how your river contains it, how your river has riverbanks is actually going to determine how useful your emotions are. Your emotions can be useful. Emotions are just information. And if we can learn how to contain them and channel them, it's super powerful. So now I want to share with you some of my top activities when the emotions start to run the show, because we all know it can get to a point where there's a breaking point in all of us with our emotions where we just kind of say, fuck it. I'm just gonna let the bitch out of the cage. Before that moment happens, and we say just fuck it and I'm gonna let it rain, there are some things that we get to do. Now, why is it important to not just let our emotions unleash on another person? A couple of things. One, it's a really great way to project. Projection is the opposite of what we want, which is connection. Whenever our emotions are happening and we feel vulnerable because there's so much feeling, the best soothing for that is connection. And projection is a toxic mimic attempt at connection. I'm going to say it again. Projection is a toxic mimicked attempt at connection. So when we find ourselves projecting, or you are the reason why I am feeling this way, or what you did caused me to feel this way. No, what caused you to feel that way is the meaning that you're making about the physical sensation that the energy and motion is activating in your body. Let's just be super clear about that. The thing that hurts is the meaning. The thing that's uncomfortable is the meaning. I just want to take a break. If this video moves you, please share it. I think this is an incredibly important conversation to have around emotional intelligence is an interesting word. Emotional connection to ourself, because ultimately this entire conversation, Wild Woman Rhapsody number 64, the Earth Temple, which my partner and I are starting, and this movement of oneness is about becoming sovereign in solidarity, becoming individual beings who know how to take responsibility for our own bullshit, because we've all got it. We've all got story, we've all got sensation, we've all got trauma stored in our bodies from lifetimes and lifetimes of bullshit. So how, when we come together, if you activate something in me that feels uncomfortable, how do I express that without projecting? Well, what I'm learning is, number one, it's unconditional attention and unconditional love on me for me. The practice of unconditional attention on my emotions, permitting anything to be felt, anything that wants to be felt in this body, any emotion, any energy and motion that comes through this body, I am committing to no longer deny or wrong myself for. I end all wars with self today. This is my invitation to you. This is my gift to you. Whether you're watching on replay or you're watching live, you can let me know. Hi, Sean. Hi, Chelsea. It's okay. Now is the time where you get to declare the war with your. Are you ready to declare the war with yourself over? Because this is the bottom line. To unconditionally give attention to any emotion, energy, and motion that arises in your body. Feel it, express it, and give yourself the riverbanks to contain it so it doesn't project on someone else. That's the unconditional attention that leads to unconditional love. I get this all the time. How do I love myself? What does that actually mean? What is actually, right? Self-love is not a manicure. Self-love is not you getting an extra piece of pie. Self things. Those can be the result of internal self-love. But external buying yourself something is just, I see it a lot. It becomes the replacement for the actual work. The actual work is feeling, expressing, and containing all emotional experiences that come your way. Some of my top activities, being outside, getting with the trees. For me, that's vital. I talk to them, I listen to them, I love on them, and also once in a while I take a stick and beat a dead tree, right? Like, or beat the ground and let the emotion run through me, because that's a time where I can be the raging ocean when there's not someone in front of me, or I'll invite my partner down into the forest with me and he can watch while I express myself into the valley, or while I express myself on a dead tree, or while I express myself not at him, but to witness. So that's my first one, is to be in nature and to be witnessed in any emotional process that's coming through. Another one that I really love about emotions is emotions are great for poetry and music and writing and song and Facebook Lives, or whatever it is that you're here to share, to be vulnerable. And you don't even have to share it with the world. You don't have to post it, but just to allow your river to flow. Because anytime we try to stop the river of emotions, nasty. Have you ever seen when rivers like divert and they get kind of like one of those little eddies that just kind of swirl in and of itself, and it collects shit, collects sticks, and it collects like dead birds? That's what happens to our emotions inside of our body. And this is just my opinion. I'm not a medical doctor, so please don't take any medical advice from me ever. But my experience is cancer is actually the whirling eddies of our emotional experiences that get stuck in the body somewhere that represent that emotional frequency. Dis-ease is stuck energy that was in motion, a feeling that was wanting to be felt, and it either was suppressed or trying to be controlled, and it shows up in the physical body. Every emotion that you experience will be felt one way or another, and it will either come out in your expression or it will come out in your physical body. I believe all disease is an expression of emotion that wasn't expressed by your voice, by your words, by your physical movement. So for physical ailments and disease, we work with people on the emotional and spiritual level. Now, there are things you can do physically as well, but taking supplements isn't going to deal with the fact that you have thousands of years of rage inside of your womb. Changing your diet isn't going to change the fact that you never received love from your mother and there's no love on your matriarchal side, and therefore the breast cancer that you're experiencing from the lack of love is showing up now in your body. It's never going to be handled through chemotherapy. That's only going to be handled by getting to the heart of the emotional issue that you've been denying. All physical pain comes from an emotional denial. Somewhere it's not being expressed, okay? So number 2 is express it through art, through music, through movement. Dance is an amazing one, right? To really get that energy moving. Every day I walk in the trees, and walk is kind of a funny word because sometimes I jog, but most of the time I do like a combination of like my modern dance training and the Phoebe run, if anyone remembers Phoebe from Friends. But just to move my physical body, because energy in motion wants to be moved. It wants to be felt and it wants to be moved. So the only thing in those moments, the tendency is to want to blame because it's a type of movement, but it's a toxic mimic of actual movement. Blame or projection is a toxic mimic of actual movement of the energies. So if we want to actually move the energies, finding that container within the river and a good way. Now, I don't like to say good because that automatically puts in the binary of bad. What I mean by bad would be a projection or blame. Right? Projection or blame is not the direction we want to go, my brothers and sisters and friends. We want to go in the direction of true emotional expression, because blame and projection, guess what? It's only going to bring that back to you from the other person. Always. There's going to be a defense. Unless they're like a Guruji, unless they've really, really done their work and could just say, wow, this is obviously your issue. I'm going to remove myself because you're blaming and projecting right now. Usually what blame and projection creates is more blame and projection. So that's how you know if you're blaming and projecting from your emotional experience. If that's what comes right back to you, guess what? That's probably what you're dishing out. So move this emotion is the next piece. We've got being in nature. We've got being witness. We've got expressing through movement, dance, poetry, music, expressing in some way. Another one in that being witness space is like to call a friend. And I want to tell you guys, I have friends on Facebook, but the friends that I'm talking about, these are the ride or die. These are the people who you say, you know what? I may not want a relationship exactly like theirs, but I honor the way that they do life. I honor the way that they do relationship. I honor the way they do finance. I honor the way that they connect with themselves. That's actually a friend, right? It's not that you want to be exactly like them. It's not even that you agree with everything. It's that the way they do life is responsible and you want that connection with them, that witnessing of that kind of person. This isn't just for anyone everywhere all the time. Your emotions are precious. As wild as they are, as erratic as they can be, this is information that's coming through your body about a residual experience. Wherever the imprint was, we can't necessarily say, right? Because the experience of energy in the body is all based on imprints from your past, either this lifetime, past lifetimes, or handed to you from your parents. So a lot of times the emotion or the energy in motion that's resonating in your body, the imprint isn't even yours. The imprint was handed down in some way. And that's the importance of doing the deeper shamanic work. That's the importance of doing the unconscious work. Shamanic and unconscious work can be interchanged, right? So it's vital that we get into the place of what we don't know of what we don't know, because that's where our emotions come from. They come from a place in the body where language doesn't quite reach. So in our conscious state, when we're just walking day-to-day life and we can respond from a place of centering, that's different than being in an emotional state. So when we're in an activated emotional state, having one of those friends who we honor the way they do life, to give us some really clear reflection and help us go deeper into those unconscious places. So that's a little bit more on witnessing. And then my final tool that I would give you is to seek out someone that you honor, a mentor, a teacher, a coach, a guide, a workshop that can help you get into those unconscious shamanic places and activate truly your power of energy and motion. Energy and motion is our power. It's our birthright. It feels amazing to feel. And it can become very confusing because we live in a culture that for thousands of years has said that the emotions are something that need to be controlled. Within the Judeo-Christian paradigm, within the Catholic regime that destroyed the European indigenous peoples and then exported colonization around the world, their base was emotion, energy and motion is chaos, and chaos is dangerous. Right? So energy and motion, emotion has no beginning and end. It doesn't have a set, this is what you do with it. And so for any paradigm that wants to control other people, emotions are very dangerous because emotions are our power. So if there wants to be a group of people that wants to suppress another people, all you have to do is control their emotions. When people are controlled emotionally, they're controlled physically, mentally, and spiritually. Emotions are the crux of why we buy, of why we do, of why we have sex, of why we say yes and no. Our energy in our body is our indicator, is our inner compass. So if a group of people can control the emotions of another, they have complete control over that culture. And so our emotions being suppressed and controlled is something that we've grown up with in this culture. Is something that we've grown up with in school, is something that we've grown up with in partnership. So to be in a space where you're opening up to what your true energy actually is, it can be scary as fuck. So my partner and I do a lot of work around going into that shamanic space, going into that unconscious space, and clearing out the stories that are built in the body so that we can actually be who we be and not be afraid of our emotions triggering a 600-year-old story in our neck or triggering the 8,000-year-old. That is why we do the shamanic work. That's why we do the unconscious work, so that we aren't constantly being triggered by these old stories in our body. We get to clear them. And when the emotion comes through, we honor it, we feel it, we express it, and we contain it like the riverbanks of a river, just like a responsible adult would do. What's the difference between an adult and a child? A child is someone who's looking for their parents. An adult is someone who is the mother and father to themselves within. That's it. That's emotional maturity, is learning how to be the mother and father of our own experience within ourselves. The nurturer, the feeler, and the structure, and the one who's going to protect us. That is the power of emotion, to teach us all how to become the mothers and fathers of our own experience. If you want some more support with that, theearthtemple.com is the place to go. That's where my partner and I have started a church that's completely dedicated to the deep sacred work, uncovering the unconscious programming and diving deep into the shamanic realms to clear it up. But you don't have to work with us. That's just one of the main options, right? Like you have working in nature, you have being witnessed by a friend that you deeply love and enjoy, you have expression through music, art, and movement, and then finally getting a guide, whether it's us or not is not important, but working with a guide, a coach, a therapist, a healer, someone to help you go deep into that emotional experience and release some of those stories from your body so that they don't keep coming up again and again and again and again and again. Emotions are not the issue. The energy in motion is not the issue. It's the meaning that we create when that emotion is in our body, when that energy is in our body. It's the meaning that we create around it that causes the suffering. And you can change the meaning, and you can do it on your own. And it's really good to do it with a guide. It just goes faster and it's really fun. So I want to just say thank you for tuning in. Please share if this video moves you. If you enjoy this conversation around emotional maturity and intelligence, you're more than welcome to DM me or leave messages here. I love interacting with all of you here on been in and out with the connection. So thank you for those who've been staying with me on this the whole time. Allison, good to feel you. Carolina says you're so cool. So are you. Monica, on, and you stayed with me the whole time. It's so good. Tyler. Oh, there he is. Maybe my reactions aren't mine. True. Carrie, for being here. Again, please share if this moves you. Theearthtemple.com. Go check us out and all the work that we're doing there. Click on the sacred schedule if you're interested in working with me one-on-one or in group. Otherwise, may your day be blessed, may your magic be bright, and may your hearts be open and full. Allow the energy to flow through, contain it like the riverbanks of a river, and feel it all, babes. Feel it all. Bless, bless, love, love.